There's a fire inside you and you know it, but the world is trying to smother it. Every day, somebody is telling you to be realistic, to slow down, to fit in. They hand you fear disguised as advice. And slowly that fire, that dream starts to dim. But let me ask you something deep. Not just for your ears, but for your soul. When did you stop feeding your dreams? I want to take you back for a moment. Picture this. A little boy in an abandoned building in Liberty City, Florida. Adopted. Rejected. Called unshakable, mentally retarded. In school, that boy was me. And I'll never forget the moment when a high school teacher looked me in the eyes and said, "Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." That man didn't just give me a compliment. He fed my dream. And now I'm here to do the same for you, because you are not too broken. You are not too old. You are not too late. The dream in your heart, it's not a fantasy. It's a preview of your future if you're willing to feed it. Let's take a journey together. Not a motivation, but transformation. Starve your doubts and feed your faith when you decide to pursue your dream. Really go after it with everything you've got. You will quickly realize something's got to give. You only have so much space in your heart, your mind, your time. And if you're serious about feeding your dream, then doubt has got to go hungry. Doubt is the silent assassin of greatness. It doesn't always come in dramatic declarations. It creeps in quietly. It whispers in the moments when you feel alone. It taps your shoulder when you're about to take that first step. It waits until you've gathered enough courage to speak your dream aloud. And then it asks, but what if you fail? What if you're not enough? What if they laugh? That's how it works. Doubt doesn't shout. It whispers. But don't let the volume fool you. The damage it does is real. Faith and doubt cannot live in the same house. One will always evict the other. So every day you have to decide who gets to stay. When I began my journey into motivational speaking, I had every reason to doubt myself. No college education. A background that didn't look like success. No connections. No name. Just a burning desire inside of me that said, there's something more. I'd walk into speaking engagements where people look me up and down, expecting nothing from me. And when I opened my mouth and the fire inside poured out, their faces changed. But before I ever got to that stage, I had to win the battle behind the scenes. I had to silence the voices in my own head before I could silence the voices of critics. You see, faith isn't just a spiritual thing. It's a survival thing. Faith is how you hold your dream together when everything around you is trying to pull it apart. Faith says, I don't see it yet, but I believe it's coming. Faith says, they don't see it in me, but I'm still becoming. Faith says, I might not have the evidence, but I have the vision. You feed your faith by repetition. You say the right things over and over again, even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it. There were mornings I looked in the mirror and said, Les Brown, you got something special. You got greatness in you. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't believe it the first time, but I said it again the next day. And the next. And something happened. My spirit caught up with my speech. What you repeat becomes what you believe. And what you believe becomes how you behave. You also feed your faith with visualization. See it. See yourself walking across that stage. See yourself running that business. See yourself healthy, whole, powerful, confident. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So give it a future to hold on to, a picture of your potential, a preview of the life you're working for. That's how you condition faith. That's how you strengthen it. Now let me tell you what doubt feeds on. Your silence. When you stay quiet about your dreams, when you internalize your fears and hide your aspirations, doubt grows stronger. But when you speak life, when you tell the truth about who you are and what you're capable of, doubt begins to shrink. Because now, you're not just thinking it, you're declaring it. And what you declare consistently will eventually define you. Some of you have been giving doubt the microphone for far too long. It's time to take it back. Tell doubt, you've had your turn. Now faith is speaking. I know it's not easy. I know it hurts to try and still not see results. I know what it's like to want to quit more than you want to keep going. But let me ask you, what's the alternative? To live your life ruled by fear, to die with your dreams still inside you. That's not living. That's existing. And you were not born to exist. You were born to rise. Feed your faith even when you feel weak, especially when you feel weak, because that's when it matters most. Anybody can believe when the results are showing. But what about when nothing's working? What about when your dream feels further away than ever? That's when you speak louder. That's when you plant your feet and say, I may not be there yet, but I'm on my way. Your dream doesn't just need talent. It needs conviction. It needs someone who will believe in it fiercely, protect it passionately, and fight for it relentlessly. And if that person isn't you, then who will it be? You can't wait for the world to believe in your dream. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And once you believe, really believe, you'll find that the world starts to catch on. They start to see what you see. They start to believe because you believed first. Starve your doubts, feed your faith, and watch your dream come alive. Get hungry for growth. Let me tell you something. Hunger is the fuel that separates those who wish from those who win. Wishing is passive. Hunger gets you out of bed when you're tired. Hunger gets you to keep studying when your eyes burn. Hunger tells you, this is not where your story ends. I know what it's like to be broke. I've looked at an empty refrigerator and tried to make a meal out of hope. But hear me on this. I've been broke, but I've never been broken. Why? Because I had hunger, not for food, but for growth, for purpose, for change, for impact. You see, growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It doesn't show up when life is easy and the sun is shining and everybody's clapping for you. No. Growth comes when life says, what are you made of? And you have to answer with your actions, not your excuses. It comes when your back is up against the wall and you whisper to yourself, I don't care what it looks like. I'm not staying here. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. The moment you settle for average is the moment you stop growing. You stop evolving. You stop becoming. But hunger, real, relentless hunger, keeps you on fire. It reminds you that there's more in you, more to give, more to become. Growth requires you to become uncomfortable with where you are, even if it's familiar. And that's the problem for most people. They get stuck in the comfort of the familiar job, the familiar relationship, the familiar fear. But if you want to feed your dream, you've got to be willing to step into the unfamiliar. You've got to walk into rooms where you're not the smartest. You've got to chase goals that make your palms sweat. You've got to do things that scare you because that's where the growth is. I remember waking up at 4 a.m., studying speakers, watching tapes, practicing my delivery into a mirror. Why? Because I was hungry. Not to be famous, not to be rich. I was hungry to grow, to get better, to become the kind of man that could help somebody else believe in themselves. That hunger was personal. If you want to grow, read every day. Read what stretches your mind, what challenges your thinking, what strengthens your spirit. Don't just scroll and consume, study and absorb. Learn about money, relationships, mindset, faith, business. Feed your mind because the more you know, the more you grow. And when you grow, you go. You progress. You become. Surround yourself with people who make you stretch, not shrink. If you're the smartest person in your group, you're in the wrong group. You need people who hold you accountable, who challenge your excuses, who remind you of your potential when you forget. If you hang around 5 lazy people, you'll become the 6th. But if you hang around 5 people who are driven, focused, and growth-oriented, you'll rise too. One of the greatest truths you'll ever hear is this: the version of you that can fulfill your dream doesn't exist yet. That person is waiting on the other side of growth. And you don't get there by staying who you are. You have to evolve. You have to unlearn, relearn, push past limitations, and expand your capacity. Growth is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Your dream demands it. Your purpose depends on it. Your future self is begging you to keep going. Because every step you take toward growth is a step away from fear, from small thinking, from regret. And let me tell you something. You will never regret growing. You will never look back and say, I wish I had stayed smaller. But growth isn't convenient. It's messy. It's painful. It will stretch you. It will expose your weaknesses. It will require you to admit you don't know everything. It will ask you to keep going when it doesn't seem worth it. But growth never takes more than it gives. When you grow, your confidence grows. Your influence grows. Your ability to impact others grows. You stop surviving and start thriving. You stop doubting and start building. You stop reacting and start creating. So, how hungry are you? How bad do you want to see change in your life? Because if you're not hungry, you'll find an excuse. But if you are, you'll find a way. Feed your dream with personal growth, with discipline, with resilience, with knowledge, with bold action. Don't let the version of you 5 years from now look back and ask, why did you stop growing? Be relentless. Be hungry. Because if you stay hungry, you'll never go without. Your dream needs a grind. Let's get something straight right now. Your dream is not a lottery ticket. It's not a wish. It's not a fantasy you daydream about when life gets hard. Your dream is a demand. It's a responsibility. It's something you were born to chase, but only if you're willing to grind. You can have the biggest, boldest, most beautiful vision in the world, but without the grind, it's just a hallucination dressed up as hope. Hope is powerful, but it only becomes real when you match it with hard work. That's the price. And most people aren't willing to pay it. That's why dreams die. Not because people didn't believe, because they didn't grind. I learned this the hard way. I didn't start on a stage. I started in the shadows. I remember driving hundreds of miles to speak at schools, churches, anywhere that would listen. Most of the time, nobody paid me. Some nights I slept in my car. Some nights I had nothing to eat. But every single one of those nights I had one thing with me, my dream. And I was willing to grind for it. Success isn't sexy. Let's stop romanticizing it. It's not just standing on stages, signing autographs, making money, and smiling for cameras. That's the highlight reel. What people don't see is the early mornings when the alarm hits at 4 a.m. and your body says, no, but your dream says, go. What people don't see is the rejections, the lonely nights, the sacrifices you make when everybody else is relaxing. Your grind happens in silence, and that silence is sacred. When others are partying, scrolling, watching TV, sleeping in, you're working. When they're talking, you're doing. While they waste time, you invest it. Because you know something they don't. Your dream doesn't owe you anything, but you owe everything to it. If you want to build something that lasts, you've got to be willing to outwork your doubts, outlast your distractions, and outgrind your excuses. Too many people want the reward, but not the work. They want the glory without the grind. But hear me, dreams don't come to the most talented. They come to the most committed. I've seen people with more talent than me give up because they weren't willing to go through the dirt. Meanwhile, I kept digging. I kept moving. Because I knew one thing. If I keep grinding, the dream has no choice but to catch fire. This grind is not just about effort. It's about endurance. Can you show up when nobody's clapping? Can you keep going when there's no sign it's working? Can you keep grinding even when you feel unseen, unheard, unrecognized? That's the test. The grind separates those who want it from those who will not stop until they get it. Let me tell you something else. The grind will change you. It will humble you. It will break your pride and test your limits. But that's a good thing, because it's not just about achieving the dream. It's about becoming the person worthy of that dream. The grind doesn't just build your success. It builds your character. You've got to build routines, systems, discipline. Not once in a while, every single day. Consistency is your friend. Discipline is your partner. Focus is your weapon. You can't build something meaningful with sporadic effort. You've got to be relentless. Your dream is a seed, and the grind is what waters it. Not just once, but again and again and again, even when you don't see the results yet. People ask, how long do I have to grind, Les? And I tell them, until it works, until it grows, until it breaks open. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when the dream becomes a reality, and even then, you grind to protect it, nurture it, and grow it more. And remember this, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's coming with a magic button to make your dream happen. You are the rescue plan. Your work ethic is the miracle. Your grind is the answer to the prayers you've been whispering in the dark. Don't let other people's comfort lull you into mediocrity. Don't let the illusion of quick success on social media distract you from the truth. Real dreams take real grind. They take pain. They take perseverance. They take patience. But when your hustle finally catches up with your hope, when your sweat meets your belief, that's when transformation happens. That's when your vision becomes visible. That's when your dream, once invisible to the world, becomes undeniable. So whatever you're building, whatever you're chasing, whatever you're dreaming, respect the grind. Fall in love with it. Make it your rhythm, your heartbeat. Because at the end of the day, the grind is what turns your maybe into manifestation. And if you stay with it long enough, your dream won't just live, it will soar. Protect your dream from dream killers. There's something you need to understand if you're going to make your dream a reality. Everybody can't come with you. Some people were never meant to go where you're going. And if you try to carry everyone with you, you'll never reach the height you were built for. Dream killers don't always look like enemies. Sometimes they smile in your face. Sometimes they share your blood. Sometimes they sit at your table. They don't come swinging knives. They come whispering doubt. Are you sure you want to do that? That seems risky. Why don't you just be grateful for what you've got? At first, it sounds like concern, but underneath it is fear, not your fear, theirs, because your growth shines a spotlight on their stagnation. And they'd rather see you stay the same than watch you rise. Some people are in your life for a season, not a lifetime. Their role was to walk with you for a chapter, not the whole book. But if you keep dragging expired relationships into your future, your dream will suffer. Your vision will cloud. Your energy will drain. You'll find yourself doubting something that once made you feel alive. Why? Because you allowed dream killers to plant seeds of hesitation in soil meant for faith. You've got to learn how to say no to gossip. No to negativity. No to voices that cause confusion instead of clarity. No to people who poke holes in your dream. Not because they care, but because they're afraid of what you'll become without them. Saying no isn't rude. It's righteous. It's you choosing to protect what God placed in your heart. That vision, that purpose, that burning desire. It's not up for debate. It's a divine assignment. Your dream is sacred. Stop handing it to people who treat it like trash. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Not everyone can understand it. That's okay. It wasn't given to them. It was given to you. And when God gives you a dream, He doesn't send it through a committee. He sends it straight to your soul. But here's the trap. Too many of us give away our dreams for the sake of belonging. We don't want to lose friends. We don't want to be misunderstood. We don't want to feel alone. So we shrink. We settle. We stop speaking up. We stop pushing forward. All to keep peace in relationships that aren't even life-giving. And that kind of peace, that's not peace. That's quiet surrender. You've got to make a decision. Do you want acceptance or elevation? Because you can't have both. The higher you climb, the thinner the air. That means fewer people, fewer voices, but more vision. More clarity, more alignment. I remember when I started rising, some people who had once clapped for me started getting distant. They said I was changing. And you know what? They were right. I was changing. Because you can't pursue purpose and stay the same. I had to love some people from a distance. I had to stop explaining myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. I had to grow, even if it meant going alone for a while. And you might have to do the same. It's not easy. It hurts to walk away. It hurts to outgrow people you once prayed with, laughed with, struggled with. But what hurts worse is dying with your dream still inside you. This journey you're on is too important to get derailed by distraction. Your energy is your most valuable currency. Spend it wisely. Your attention is sacred. Guard it. Your spirit is sensitive. Protect it. If something feels off, trust that. If someone makes you question your calling every time you're around them, that's a sign. Pay attention. Protecting your dream isn't just about cutting people off. It's about creating boundaries, raising standards, and choosing environments that breathe life into your purpose. Get around people who speak possibility, who remind you of your potential, who hold you accountable to your greatness, who don't just see where you are, but where you're headed. And here's the truth. When you protect your dream, you're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for every person your dream is going to bless. Because your dream is not just about you. It's about who you're going to impact when you walk in your calling. Somebody out there is waiting on your courage. They're waiting on your story. They're waiting on your breakthrough so they can believe in their own. So protect your dream like your life depends on it. Because it does. Pain is part of the process. Listen to me closely, because if you hear nothing else, hear this: pain is not punishment. It's preparation. I know it doesn't feel that way when you're in it. I know when the tears are falling, when the phone call never comes, when the doors keep slamming in your face. It feels like the world is telling you to stop, but it's not. It's testing you. It's shaping you. It's strengthening the very foundation of the dream you're trying to build. Every breakdown is making space for a breakthrough. You don't grow through applause. You don't grow through comfort. You grow through struggle, through disappointment, through failure, through nights when nobody understands what you're carrying in your heart. You grow in those dark places when all you've got left is your breath, your belief, and a dream you refuse to let die. I know what it feels like to cry in silence. I know what it's like to look up at the ceiling and wonder, is this even worth it? Does anybody see me? Does this even matter? I've been there, on the edge of quitting. I've questioned my own worth, doubted my own calling, and wrestled with my own pain. But let me tell you something I've learned in those moments. The deeper the pain, the greater the purpose. The heavier the burden, the higher the calling. Pain doesn't come to break you. It comes to build you. It comes to dig up everything in you that's weak and show you how strong you really are. It's a mirror, a furnace, a lesson. It reveals, it refines. And if you lean into it, if you allow it, you'll come out on the other side more powerful than you ever imagined. Think about it. A diamond doesn't start out shining. It starts out buried, under pressure, under heat. It doesn't complain. It doesn't cry. It endures. And through that process, something priceless is formed. That's you. You're the diamond. Your dream is being forged in the fire of adversity. And your pain is not proof of your failure. It's proof that you're becoming. You see, most people run from pain. They avoid it. They numb it. They deny it. But not you. You're different. You're chosen. You're called. And you're willing to feel what others fear because you understand. Pain has a purpose. It teaches you who's real. It reveals who's willing to walk with you through the storm and who only showed up for the sunshine. It teaches you resilience, empathy, courage, and clarity. It pulls you out of shallow waters and throws you into the deep, where your faith has to grow, where your voice gets stronger, where your vision becomes unshakable. Every time you've been rejected, you were being redirected. Every time you lost something, you were being led to something greater. You just didn't see it yet. But now, you're starting to understand your pain wasn't pointless. It was positioning you. You want to feed your dreams, then feed them with pain. Take the losses, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, and turn them into fuel. Let them burn inside you, not as bitterness, but as fire. Fire that drives you. Fire that pushes you. Fire that keeps you going when everything says stop. You've got to stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this doing for me? Because when you shift that mindset, everything changes. You begin to see your pain as a partner, not a prison. You begin to see the valley as preparation for the mountaintop. You begin to realize you weren't buried. You were planted. And now you're growing. Some of the most powerful, inspiring, world-changing people you admire Look at their stories. They've been through hell. They've been laughed at, counted out, broken down. But they didn't let the pain define them. They used it. They transformed it. They built from it. And you will too. So I don't care how deep the cut is, how dark the night feels, or how loud the silence is. You hold on. Don't you dare give up in the middle of your pain. Because if you can survive this chapter, your next one will be full of strength you didn't know you had. Pain is part of the process. Let it work. Let it shape you. Let it prepare you for the dream you're destined to live. And remember, scars don't mean you're weak. They mean you fought through something that tried to destroy you. Wear them with pride, because they're not signs of defeat. They're proof that you're still standing. Keep moving. Keep believing. Keep building. Your dream is waiting. And it's going to be worth every ounce of pain. Tell to your RSELF more. Tell you listen to yo, you RSELF, your mind is a battlefield. And the truth is, most of the time, the battle isn't with the world. It isn't with critics. It isn't even with your circumstances. The real war, it's happening right between your ears. The enemy isn't out there. The enemy is that quiet, constant voice inside your own head. The one that whispers doubt, fear, insecurity, and shame. But here's what you need to understand. Just because a thought shows up doesn't mean you have to believe it. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every voice deserves your agreement. That's why you have to talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. Because if you just listen, you'll hear the old lies. You'll hear the programming from your past. You'll hear the wounds speaking, the trauma speaking, the fear speaking. That voice will say things like, you're not good enough. You'll never make it. You always mess things up. You're too late, too broken, too much. And if you don't interrupt those lies, they become your reality. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not weak. You're not weak. You're under attack. But the weapon you've been given to fight back with isn't external. It's internal. It's your voice. I remember standing in front of the mirror, broke, confused, uncertain, and I'd look myself dead in the eyes and say, you've got this, Les Brown. You were born to win. You got something special. You've got greatness inside of you. I didn't say it because I felt it. I said until I did. And that's the key. You have to speak truth, even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it. You've got to say it until your soul starts to believe it again. Because your dream isn't just built with action. It's built with language. Your words build your world. You can't be casual with your inner dialogue. You have to become intentional, strategic. You have to craft the kind of inner language that reinforces your purpose, not your pain. Every time a lie shows up, confront it. Speak louder than it. You have the authority to override your own fear. You have the power to declare something different. Say things like, I am enough. I'm not who I was. I'm who I'm becoming. I may be in a storm, but the storm is not in me. This dream is mine. I was chosen for this. I can do this. Say it until your nervous system shifts. Say it until the lie has no oxygen left. Say it until you remember who you are. If you only ever listen to the chatter of your own mind without filtering it, you'll stay stuck in cycles of self-sabotage. But when you take the wheel, when you grab the mic and speak life, you break the cycle. You don't need perfect circumstances to succeed. You need the right conversation. The conversation you have with yourself every single day will shape your destiny. It's not about hype. It's about truth. Truth that affirms your value. Truth that reminds you why you started. Truth that pulls you back up when the world knocks you down. Words are seeds. Every time you speak, you plant something. So what are you planting? Are you planting fear or faith? Are you planting limitation or liberation? Are you planting shame or strength? Whatever you say repeatedly becomes your belief, and your belief becomes your behavior, and your behavior becomes your results. This is why it's not enough to get motivation from others. You've got to learn how to motivate yourself. People may give you encouragement for a moment, but they won't be there every morning when the alarm goes off. They won't be there when you're alone with your fears. That's your job. That's when you need to look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am not done. I am not quitting. I am just getting started. You don't need perfect confidence. You need practice conviction. You build that by speaking life over and over again until what was once hard to believe becomes the most natural thing in the world. The greatest leaders, creators, and dreamers in history, they all had doubts. They all heard the voices, but they spoke through them. They rewrote the narrative. And you can too. Your dream is listening to you. Your spirit is listening to you. So stop waiting for someone else to validate your voice. Stop waiting for the world to clap. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. Speak now. Speak truth. Speak power, even when you feel weak, especially when you feel weak. Because your words are not just sounds. They are swords. They cut through the lies. They protect your dream. They shape your future. And when you learn to talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself, you don't just win the battle in your mind. You win your life. Teki mesai IMPR faciti asiam. Let me speak to the part of you that's been waiting for the right time, waiting for more confidence, waiting until everything feels perfect before you start. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. They don't exist. Stop waiting for everything to line up, for the fear to go away, for someone to hand you permission. Life doesn't work that way. Dreams don't work that way. The stars don't have to align for you to begin. You align yourself by starting. You don't need perfection. You need motion. And I'm not talking about tiny hesitant steps. I'm talking about massive imperfect action. The kind that's raw. The kind that's messy. The kind that might scare you half to death. Because that kind of action, that's the stuff that builds dreams. When I first started speaking, I didn't have a polished delivery. I didn't know how to work a crowd. I stumbled. I forgot my lines. I sweated through my shirt. I looked out at faces that were confused or distracted or unimpressed. But I kept going. I showed up. I messed up. I learned. I adjusted. And I grew. You don't become great by sitting on the sidelines. You become great by getting in the game again and again. Even if you fumble the ball. You get better by doing, not by waiting, not by analyzing every outcome, not by scrolling through videos of other people living your dream. You get better by putting your hands on the work and saying, I may not know everything, but I'm in this. Too many people die with their dreams still trapped inside them because they were waiting for the moment when they'd finally feel ready. Let me tell you something, you will never feel ready. Confidence is not something you get before you start. Confidence is what comes after you start. After you fall. After you get back up and do it again. You don't become ready in the waiting. You become ready in the doing. So what if you fall? So what if you stumble? So what if you launch the business and it flops, or publish the book and it only sells 5 copies, or speak the speech and forget half your message? Let me ask you something deeper. What if you succeed? What if you keep going and grow stronger? What if the first messy move is what sets everything in motion? What if the world has been waiting for you and you've been sitting back waiting for the world? Your dream doesn't need you to be flawless. It needs you to be faithful. Faithful to the calling. Faithful to the process. Faithful enough to show up even when your voice shakes, even when your knees tremble, even when the room feels bigger than your belief. Perfection is a liar. It's a mirage. It says, just a little more time, just a little more preparation while your opportunity passes you by. Perfection keeps you trapped, but action sets you free. Massive imperfect action is powerful because it creates momentum. And momentum is more valuable than mastery. Momentum keeps you moving forward. Even if the path isn't clear, it gives you something to build on. You can fix a wrong step, but you can't fix no step. Don't wait for clarity. Create it. Clarity comes through movement, through showing up, through trying, adjusting, trying again. Every person you admire, they started somewhere. They started scared. They started small. They started unsure, but they started. I've seen people with less talent, less education, less experience win because they moved. While others sat, they stood up. While others talked, they acted. While others dreamed, they did. The world doesn't reward perfection. It rewards consistency. boldness. Courage. You've been given a vision, a calling, a dream that lives in your belly like fire. But that fire will burn you up from the inside if you don't release it into the world through action. Don't let fear dress itself up as wisdom. Don't let comfort dress itself up as caution. Don't let perfectionism disguise itself as preparation. You are not behind. You are not too late. But you are being called to move today, right now. Move messy, move scared, move unprepared, but move. And once you do, keep going. Because every action, no matter how imperfect, is a declaration to the universe, I'm ready for this dream. I'm claiming it. I'm building it. I will not wait any longer. And as you move, your dream moves closer. So don't pray for perfection. Pray for boldness. Don't wait for signs. Be the sign. Be the spark. Be the beginning of the breakthrough you've been asking for. Take massive, imperfect action and watch what unfolds. S-E-A-T. Say I-T. Steeple-N-T-O-I-T. Imagination is not child's play. It's creation in its rawest form. It's the birthplace of your dream. Everything that has ever been built, achieved, or transformed started first in someone's mind. Before it was real, it was imagined. That's why your dream requires vision. You've got to see it before you receive it. I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about faith-filled foresight. I'm talking about closing your eyes and seeing a version of yourself that's stronger, bolder, wiser. I'm talking about seeing the business before the revenue, the stage before the audience, the healing before the doctor's report. You've got to see it. Every time I stepped on a stage early in my career, when the crowds were small, when the mic barely worked, when I got paid in handshakes instead of checks, I still saw something bigger. I saw stadiums. I saw books. I saw impact. That vision pulled me forward when reality was trying to push me back. It became my anchor and my compass. Because what you see consistently, you start to believe. And what you believe, you start to move toward. But it doesn't stop there. You've got to say it. Speak life. Speak it out loud. Declare what you see. Write it in a journal. Put it on your walls. Whisper it in the dark. Shout it when no one else believes you. Why? Because your words shape your world. And if you're silent about your dream, the noise of doubt will take over. There's power in declaration. Don't just think about your dream. Articulate it. Give it breath. Give it language. Call it into existence like it already belongs to you, because it does. Not because it's been handed to you, but because it was designed for you. You were made for this. And your voice is part of how that dream begins to manifest. But seeing it and saying it still isn't enough. You've got to step into it. This is where most people stop. They imagine the life. They say the affirmations, but they never move. They're waiting. Waiting for confirmation, waiting for someone to open a door, waiting for the fear to vanish. But faith without works, it's dead. It's flat. It's unproductive. So take the step, one move call, one post, one email, one prayer, one act of faith. That's all it takes to start momentum. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just the next step. Take it. That's where the transformation begins. When I started, I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know if people would laugh at me, ignore me, or walk out of the room. But I knew I had to speak. So I spoke. And that one step, it became 2. Then 5. Then 1,000. I wasn't always confident. I just kept walking anyway. I didn't wait for the fear to disappear. I learned to walk with it until it got tired of following me. That's what you have to do. Walk through the doubt, through the insecurity, through the opposition. Every time you step, you shrink the distance between where you are and where you're meant to be. And don't confuse small steps with small dreams. Sometimes the most powerful move is just showing up, saying yes, trying again, refusing to quit. These moments may look insignificant, but they are sacred. They are steps of obedience towards something greater than you can currently see. You've got to live in alignment with the future you want, not the present you're in. That means you can't let your current circumstances limit your movement. You move based on your vision, not your situation, because that vision is your invitation. That vision is God's whisper saying, there's more. Keep going. So close your eyes. See the dream again. Not just the goal, but the feeling. See the people you'll impact. See the life you'll live when you've become the person you're meant to be. Then open your mouth. Speak it. Say it with fire. Say it until the atmosphere shifts. Say it until your own doubt starts doubting itself. And then move. Don't wait for clarity to come floating out of the sky. Clarity comes through movement, through momentum, through faith and action. Your dream is waiting, but it's not coming to find you. You've got to meet it halfway. So don't just dream, do. Don't just plan, pursue. Don't just visualize, move. See it, say it, step into it. Because the life you want is already reaching for you. You just have to move in its direction. Nevar steofididi, IT dreams don't grow on their own. They're not wildflowers that bloom effortlessly in the wind. They're more like gardens. Beautiful, but fragile. They require constant tending, daily attention, consistent nourishment. And if you don't feed your dream, it dies. Slowly, quietly, without warning. A dream is alive. It's breathing. It's sacred. And like anything that lives, it has needs. It needs vision. It needs belief. It needs discipline. It needs action. It needs prayer. It needs you to feed it, especially when you don't feel like it. Every single day, you've got to wake up and ask yourself, how can I feed my dream today? Not someday. Not when things feel easier. Not when the timing is right. But today, maybe it's a chapter you write. Maybe it's a phone call you make. Maybe it's a workout you push through. Maybe it's just getting out of bed when everything in you says stay down. Whatever it is, do it. Feed it, because your dream is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. There will be days when it feels like nothing's happening, like no one sees you, like your effort is going unnoticed, unrewarded, unfruitful. And in those moments, it'll be tempting to back off, to slow down, to say, maybe this isn't meant for me. That's when you feed it the most. That's when you double down on belief. That's when you speak louder than your doubt. That's when you pull out your why and stare it in the face until your soul catches fire again. Because the truth is, this world is not kind to dreamers. It celebrates the success, but it rarely honors the struggle. People will tell you to be realistic, to settle down, to play it safe. They'll question your ambition. They'll mock your vision. They'll misunderstand your fire, but let them. Because you weren't given that dream to impress them. You were given that dream to change lives, including your own. And here's the good news. God favors the ones who don't stop believing. He favors the ones who keep showing up with broken pieces, with tired hearts, with trembling voices. The ones who pray even when they're unsure. The ones who keep building even when the blueprint feels blurry. He's not looking for perfect. He's looking for faithful. I remember seasons in my life where I felt invisible. I was doing the work, sowing the seeds, speaking the words, but the harvest was nowhere in sight. I wanted to quit. I questioned myself. But instead of backing down, I chose to keep feeding the dream. I read books. I journaled. I prayed. I practiced. I surrounded myself with voices that reminded me who I was and whose I was. I fed it with everything I had left. And eventually that seed broke through the soil, not because I was the smartest, not because I was the most talented, but because I was consistent. Because I stayed in the fight long enough to see the dream come alive. That's what your dream is waiting on, not perfection, not applause, just consistency. Just someone willing to feed it when it's cold, when it's dark, when it's quiet. Because feeding your dream isn't just about achievement. It's about alignment. It's about staying connected to the thing that lights you up from the inside. So when the doubt creeps in, feed your faith. When you feel tired, feed your discipline. When the critics get loud, feed your focus. When the days feel heavy, feed your hope. And when it all feels impossible, feed your dream anyway. Because one day, someone's going to look at your life and see the fruit. They'll see the result. They'll see the platform, the impact, the success. But they won't know what it cost you. They won't know the sleepless nights, the silent tears, the sacrifices. You'll know because you were there feeding it every step of the way. And that's the reward, not just the dream fulfilled, but the you became along the way. The stronger, wiser, more resilient version of yourself that only emerged because you chose not to quit. So don't let the silence fool you. Don't let the slow days trick you. Don't let discouragement devour your desire. Your dream is still alive, still worth it, still possible, but only if you keep feeding it every day, no matter what, because the ones who feed their dreams are the ones who live a lot. You've been through a lot. You've cried in the dark. You've had to encourage yourself, but you're still here. That means your dream still has breath. So today, choose to feed it. Feed it with your time. Feed it with your energy. Feed it with your faith. Feed it with your action. Because the greatest tragedy in life is not death. It's to live without a dream or to let one starve. You are not average. You are not born to fit in. You are anointed to stand out. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next year. Now, feed your dreams and watch what happens. Let's go.